Welcome back to another weekly recap. I'm Brie E Anderson, and this week we're going to be talking about videos in the search engine result pages, LinkedIn's latest marketing strategy, some changes coming to Apple apps and their push notifications, a new Facebook ad set that's targeted straight at loyalty, and some changes coming to YouTube ads. Then we're going to go outside digital and talk about how the cancellation of sports is about to hurt marketing. Okay, so you've probably noticed that there are more and more videos in the search engine result pages, and this has been done on purpose. It seems that a lot of people like the videos in the search engine result pages because they can get to what they need quickly and it's visual. Especially in those how-to scenarios, they can get exactly what they need and follow along step by step. Well, YouTube and Google have started to notice this, and they've pushed these videos into the search engine result pages a lot more. A couple of weeks ago, we talked about how there are actually more YouTube videos showing up in the search engine result pages than Wikipedia knowledge panels, which is major. So they're taking this a step further. You may have noticed that some of these videos come with key moment timestamps where they allow you to fast forward to a specific part of a video, or they're just saying, this 17-second clip is probably what's going to be the most useful for you. Now they're taking that even a step further, and they're having multiple videos in kind of like a carousel type format, and each of those videos have key moments laid out within them, anywhere from like 2 or 3 to 10 or 15, depending how long the video is. This is really interesting because not only is it happening on desktop, but it's also been found to be happening on mobile as well. So it's really taking off, and Google must see that this has been very successful because it is becoming more common. So a few things to take from this. The first is that you should always be putting in the description of your YouTube videos the timestamp breakdown. So you should be saying between this time and this time I talk about this, between this time and this time I talk about this, because it helps Google and YouTube really understand your video and what's happening in your video. To take it a step further, you should always be using some form of captioning or SRT file that you have gone through and edited yourself. I must say I am hired by Quick to do some contract work, so obviously I suggest using quick.io, but really any form of SRT or captioning should be used in your YouTube videos in order to help YouTube understand it even more. Because remember, as much context as you can give YouTube and Google about what's going on in your video, the better, because they don't necessarily have bots that can sit there and watch the video. And all of the audio recognition is coming from the same thing that you use in type to text. And if you've ever used type to text, you probably know that it's not necessarily the best at understanding everything you're saying. So make sure that you are really helping Google and YouTube understand what's happening in your videos so that you have a better chance of turning up in those search engine result pages and getting more organic traffic to your videos or to your website. I suspect that we'll be seeing a lot more audio visual type of results in the search engine result pages, not just in the next couple months with everybody having to work from home, but just in the long term in general, because the natural language processing is becoming so much better on Google's end, that they are able to start understanding some of these things a little bit better. But for now, again, we just need to keep feeding them this information so that they can truly understand what's going on in our videos. Because again, like I said, if there are multiple videos and they all have key moments laid out for them, this is going to encourage users to go through more videos to find the person that they like the best, or the type of video they like the best to go through each of the steps with, or what have you. All right, now let's move into LinkedIn's latest marketing tactic, which I think has been pretty cool. LinkedIn rolled out 6 playlists on Spotify that are all based around working, getting an interview, and getting your LinkedIn profile ready for a change, something of that nature. All of their playlists have over 200 followers, and LinkedIn itself has over 2,100 followers on Spotify. So I know that they've gotten a lot of people being like, why does LinkedIn need to be on Spotify? And the answer is actually pretty easy, because that's where their audience is. While LinkedIn might be full of boomers now, the workforce is becoming younger and younger, and it turns out that the majority of those people aren't listening to the radio or watching TV. They're streaming in one way or another, so they're using platforms like Spotify. And by having this sort of guerrilla type marketing where they're saying, hey, get ready for your job. Oh, by the way, this is made by LinkedIn. They're telling younger users, hey, we are here and we're here to help you develop professionally. I know, like I said, I know a lot of people think that it's kind of cheesy and there's not much use to it, but I think it's actually really smart that they're listening to their users, especially when you think about what those users are doing at work. I stream Spotify throughout the day to listen to podcasts and music. And I think that most people my age do. So, like I said, I think this is pretty smart by LinkedIn. I'll be excited to see these numbers grow. Like I said, right now, most of the playlists have anywhere from 200 to 300 followers, but I wouldn't be surprised if that number starts to go up, especially if they can work out some sort of partnership with Spotify. I don't think that there is one right now. I think LinkedIn is truly just using the platform. So we'll see. I'll be excited to see where that comes, and I hope that you'll check it out too. Let me know in the comments below if you use Spotify while you're working, and if so, what playlists you're listening to. All right, now let's talk about some changes coming to push notifications on Apple's end. Apparently, there was some rewording in the latest term and services agreement between Apple and the app creators that is starting to open up the ability for app creators to use push notifications for promotional messaging. It used to be that they were only able to send notifications about things that were happening on the platform, and that they couldn't require that people had to have push notifications on in order to use the platform. Now, that part is still the same. They can't require that people have notifications turned on. But now they can start using some of those push notifications for promotional reason. Now, within that wording, Apple did say if people start to abuse it, that they can take away that right. And I think that that's really important, because if you think about what it means to allow a company to send you push notifications, that's like email marketing times 20, because it's right to your phone and it's very, very intrusive because it's usually a banner. So now that companies are able to use that, I suggest that they are very, very careful with the messages that they are sending, and that they're sure not to overdo it. Because if they send so many messages that are irrelevant, or they just send too many altogether, they will lose users that are subscribed to their notifications, and those users will not come back. Because I can tell you it's pretty easy to use an app and not have the notifications on. So if you lose people that have notifications on because of this promotional messaging, I can almost guarantee you that you won't be able to get them to come back. Now, this is going to be really beneficial for some businesses that use this correctly. I think of things automatically like promotional launches, exclusive launches, things of that nature. I think a lot of clothing lines, they already have kind of been doing this, maybe under the radar or in a little roundabout kind of way. But I think that it would be really cool to set up, people could subscribe to reminders for product launches. You could send out push notifications when there are product launches. Maybe you could do push notifications when people get around one of your brick and mortar locations. There are a lot of opportunities there. But like I said, I would make sure that you, especially at the start slow, because everyone's going to be sending these notifications. And if everyone sends these notifications and we're all doing a really bad job because it's brand new, then they're going to stop subscribing to notifications altogether. And we don't want that, right? Start slow and don't bombard people, and maybe not even go the promotional route right away. I would just say, be very careful and cautious of that, but definitely use it to your advantage if and when you get access to putting out these notifications. I will be curious to see how Apple enforces this whole, we'll take it away if you use it too much or if you start to abuse it. I'm not sure how they'll use that. Maybe it's like they'll track how many people are subscribed to those notifications and then they go back and unsubscribe from them. They might be tracking that. Maybe they'll just track how many messages you're sending out altogether. Not sure, but like I said, I would play it safe and make sure that you don't get it taken away, because it could be very, very valuable to you. Okay, now let's talk about this new feature coming to Facebook. So Facebook is currently rolling out in beta a loyalty program that allows you to connect your loyalty account from whatever store or location, what have you, to your Facebook app so that you can check it while on Facebook. So they're rolling this out with Sephora Insider currently. So how it works is the person would sign into their Sephora Insider and into Facebook, and they would say, share my information from Sephora to Facebook. And then once they're on Facebook, when they visit Sephora's page, they can look at their points and rewards. Even, I think they can even access it from, kind of that other menu on Facebook to access all of their points and rewards. Now, this is really interesting because Facebook has never truly focused on loyalty before. I'm interested to see how this will come into play. Now, I will say right off the bat, the first thing I thought of was, well, now they have more data on these people. If you start linking all of your rewards cards to Facebook, that is just more data that you're giving to Facebook. So I don't know if that'll be used for some sort of retargeting campaign. It absolutely could be. Or if it'll just be, again, some way to help form loyalty, and maybe it'll tell Facebook, hey, show these organic posts to these people more often because they obviously care about that brand if they have some sort of loyalty or reward set up with them. I really think that this is kind of a smart move on Facebook's end because there's really not, now that I think about it, other than exclusive apps, there's no real place or way to grow loyalty on a social media platform right now that I can think of. Other than, obviously you're going to be retargeting these people, what have you, but this is very, very specific type. The closest thing I could think of is, like Twitter chats, but even then it's not very brand specific a lot of the time because yes, I jump into SEM Rush chat, but that doesn't necessarily mean that I have to use their platform. I do, but it's not like I would have to use it to understand what's going on in that chat. This is very specific to, you have to have Sephora Insider in order to track your loyalty on Facebook. So I'll be interested to see what comes of this integration and how Facebook will be able to kind of tap into this and maybe give smaller businesses a chance to build these loyalty programs and allow people to start managing all of those things from the Facebook platform. That would be kind of cool. So you don't have to have like punch cards or type in your phone number or whatever. It'd be really cool if it could just be like a Starbucks thing where you just, scan your rewards card or something like that. So I don't know, something that's pretty interesting and to be on the lookout for. Like I said, it is in beta, so it'll be a while until it rolls out to the general public. But I would be watching Sephora. Maybe if you have a Sephora Insider, you should go ahead and connect it to your Facebook just so you can see what Sephora is doing with it. Because that's my favorite way to learn how to best use new platforms and new tools. So if you do that, please let us know in the comments below so we can pick your brain on what's happening. Okay, last thing before we go outside of digital, new YouTube ad controls. So YouTube teased out that they're going to be allowing some users to place ads with brands, like specifically with brands through their own relationships. So this is something they've not been able to do before as far as the interstitial ads go. What this new release could do, it could allow YouTubers to have a partnership with a brand and put an interstitial ad in their video for a certain amount of time. So currently, obviously, YouTubers can have relationships with brands and bake those into their videos natively. But the thing is, then that ad lives in the video forever instead of it being there only when it's relevant. Okay, here's a good example. So let's say you're a YouTuber and you do some sort of off-roading, what have you, right? All of your videos are you off-roading, and you natively put in an ad, the 2019 Jeep Wrangler. But what happens in 2022 when somebody stumbles across your video because you've done really good search engine optimization and you've optimized it so people are still coming to your video in 2022, and now they're getting an ad for a 2019 Jeep Wrangler? What this would allow is for YouTubers to be able to put those ads in through a platform and change them out as time goes on. So this could be all right, every year, we'll have an agreement for 5 years, and for 5 years, every year we'll change this ad when your new, when the new Jeep Wrangler comes out. Or it could be, we'll do it for these 3 months because you're going very heavy on the Jeep Wrangler, and I'll sell it to somebody else the next 3 months, what have you. Now, this is good and it is bad. So when you think about a YouTuber, currently they're only The only thing they have to focus on is creating good content, and maybe like partnerships and things like that. So they have a team of people usually that they're working with, but it's all focused on the video and maybe coming up with some of those brand partnerships. But adding in having to manage the ads that go into your video, should you choose to do it, it could add a whole other level and require a lot more work. And this is something that for some YouTubers might be very good, but for others, it's just not even going to be feasible. I will say it is very interesting, and as a brand, I would be very interested in doing this. But as a YouTuber, like I said, it could get very overwhelming very quickly. This is very much like traditional media buying. So when you think of TV buys, you go like a quarter ahead and you make those buys, and you know that they're going to run during HGTV, Property Brothers, or what have you. You would be able to start to make those buys. And YouTube's been moving towards this for a while, because this is the first year that they've allowed you to buy more than 90 days in advance, I believe. They made that announcement last December that you would be able to do that starting in 2020. So they're going a lot more towards traditional buy. And I think that's because they're going more towards traditional media in general. I mean, they have streaming, both TV, live streaming and renting and all those kinds of things. And they also have streaming for music. So they are going towards that sort of system. So like I said, it'll be interesting to see what happens with that. I think that a lot of creators really could benefit from this. A lot of brands really could benefit from this. But like I said, it is going to be a lot more work. But it could even be better for the audience, truly, other than having to rely on YouTube to do so much of the work and create, the best ads for every person and it go in with the video and things like that. That's just a lot of burden on YouTube. So this could be a lot better. I was listening to the social media marketing talk show by Social Media Examiner. And when they were interviewing this guy, he was saying, Google and YouTube, they put out a lot of things, and then sometimes they follow through, sometimes they don't. It's not like you're going to get like an email that says, congratulations, now you can start having these branded ads that you've set yourself or anything like that. Like, you have to actively go out and look for it a lot of the time, unless it's something that they're rolling out and everybody's going to have to use. If it's something that's optional, they're not going to send you a notification. So if you're interested in these things, you have to make sure that you're going out and actively looking for them within your settings. So they're rolling out a lot more things that are going to give creators a lot more control, which I think is important. I also think that a lot of this is coming from the fact that social media platforms are fighting tooth and nail for creators because they know how much money that they can bring in, right? So Twitch is constantly having to fight against YouTube for creators, and YouTube is fighting Instagram TV for creators, and Instagram TV is fighting for YouTube creators, which I mean, in my opinion, the two, YouTube's going to win that every time, but hey, I don't know. So anyways, YouTube and IG are constantly going against one another. TikTok and Instagram are constantly going against one another, right? Like, there are only so many creators, and all of the platforms want those creators on their platforms, because what happens is when those creators are on the platforms, people stay longer, they engage more, and the platforms are able to sell more ads, and that's what they want. Okay, now let's go outside digital and talk about how the cancellation of all these sports might hurt marketing. And it might not just hurt marketing from like a sales position, but it might hurt marketing of specific brands. So as you may or may not know, the NCAA, NBA, and NHL have been canceled for the season, and opening day for MLB has been postponed. So these are a lot of really big sporting events. Obviously, the first question is, so what's going to air during those times? We don't know. I have no idea what's going to roll out during those times, because those are big chunks of time, of airtime that are now going to have to be filled. Not sure what those are going to be filled with. But another thing is, again, like I was just talking about with traditional media buying, generally speaking, those things are bought up to a quarter in advance. So 3 months in advance. So all these people bank on placing their ads during these events, and now all of a sudden these events aren't happening. They already have contracts that say, yes, during this time, from here to here, we're going to place this many ads. So now we're having to figure out, what do those contracts look like? What do people get? And do we continue to show those ads during that time, even though we know not as many people are going to be tuned in, because we're not showing the things that they were originally going to tune in for. So that's a problem. What we're going to show during that time is a problem because now we have all of this time to fill that was originally going to be filled with something else. And it's not like producing commercial grade content is that easy or cheap. Maybe they'll play reruns. I have no idea what's going to be played during those things, like I said. And then another thing is, how are these organizations going to make money? From what I read, the NBA makes about half of their revenue from specific partnerships in media that's placed during their games. So now, how are they going to make that money? How are the players going to make money? How are the teams going to make money? How are those cities going to make money? I know this is a concern that a lot of people have been having. So now we have these three major buckets of like, oh crap. So we don't know what's going to play. We don't know what we're going to do about all those people that have already placed ads and bought those commercials. And we don't know how people are going to make money. I have a couple ideas, but I'm just not sure about what's going to happen. And I don't think all of that money is going to be recouped. I don't even know that half of it will be recouped. I do think what we will see is players and teams doing live content. I think we'll see a lot of players and teams doing branded content for social media and maybe even for traditional media as well. It truly just depends on how far the US is going to go as far as like quarantining and things of that nature. I still think even from their home, players can make money through some sort of like sponsorships or creating content just because of the name that they have and the brand that they have. Same thing with the teams. I think that they can do that as well. My biggest concern right now is how they're going to fill that airtime. Like I said, I don't have any answers for this. This is just something that is happening currently, and we're not sure fixed and what's going to happen with it. So I do suspect, like I said, that we'll see more content coming out from the players. They're going to have to get, just like everyone else is, they're going to have to get creative with how they make money if they need that money. So obviously, you know, a lot of these big players and big brands have millions upon millions of dollars. Some of them could go a season without money. I don't think that's unrealistic. But there are some, I mean, you think about like semi-pro baseball players, and the semi-pro hockey players and things of that nature. They're not making a ton of money, but they're making enough money to get by. And now all of a sudden they don't have a season. I don't know how you hold up that contract. Like, are they still going to get paid? Are they going to get paid a portion of it? And if they get paid a portion of it, that's not enough for them to live. They're going to have to find a way to supplement that income, just like everybody else is currently having to figure out how they're going to continue to make money. If they work in some sort of service related industry where they're having to have that contact with people face to face. It is a very interesting time. Like I said in the last episode, I truly encourage all of you to be checking in with one another, checking in with yourself, and getting help should you need it. I am excited to see what kind of creativity this sparks in people because, like I said, we're all having to innovate currently, so I'm excited to see kind of what comes from that. That's all I've got for this week, folks. I'll see you next week, 7 p.m. on Sunday for another Digital Digest. This is Brie E Anderson. Have a good week.